Have you ever noticed how much of your life is spent trying to hold everything together? We make plans, we set goals, we imagine countless futures, believing that if we think hard enough, prepare enough, or worry enough, life will finally become predictable. Yet somehow, the harder we grasp, the more uncertain everything feels. Perhaps that is because control is not something we lose. Perhaps it was never ours to begin with. Take a moment to watch a cloud drifting across the sky. It doesn't argue with the wind. It doesn't decide where it should go. It simply moves. The river does not ask permission before finding the sea. The tree does not wake each morning wondering whether it is growing quickly enough. Nature has no anxiety about becoming itself. Only human beings carry this invisible burden, the belief that every moment must be managed, improved, directed, and controlled. And in carrying that burden, we often forget how to simply live. Imagine holding a handful of water. Close your fingers tightly, and the water somehow slips away. But when you relax your hand, it remains. This is one of life's quiet paradoxes. The more desperately we try to possess life, the more distant it becomes. Peace rarely arrives through force, it arrives through openness. Think back to a time when everything in your life unfolded differently than you planned. Perhaps a relationship ended. Perhaps you lost an opportunity. Perhaps something you feared never happened at all. At that time, you may have believed everything was falling apart. But when you look back now, you can see how those moments shaped the person you became. Life often understands the path long before we do. We only see a single step, but life sees the mountain. There is an ancient image of bamboo growing during a storm. The mighty oak resists the wind with all its strength. Sometimes it breaks, but the bamboo bends, and when the storm passes, it stands exactly where it was. Its strength is not found in resistance. Its strength is found in its flexibility. Perhaps wisdom is not becoming unbreakable. Perhaps wisdom is learning how to bend. Much of our suffering comes not from what is happening, but from the argument we have with what is happening. We tell ourselves, this shouldn't be happening. I should already be somewhere else. My life should look different. Notice the word should. A single word capable of creating endless frustration. Reality simply is. It asks nothing of us except to meet it honestly. There is a strange freedom in admitting that uncertainty is part of being alive. You do not know exactly what tomorrow will bring. Neither does anyone else. The person walking confidently beside you, the wealthy businessman, the famous actor, the monk sitting quietly in the mountains, none of them truly know what tomorrow will bring. And perhaps that has always been true. The future is never promised, only imagined. Consider breathing. You can notice your breath. You can slow it. You can deepen it. But eventually, your body breathes without asking your permission. Your heart beats. Your cells renew themselves. The stars move across the sky. The tides rise and fall. So much of existence happens effortlessly. Why do we imagine that peace must be achieved through constant effort? Perhaps life is less like building a machine, and more like learning a dance. When you dance, you are not trying to force each movement into existence. You respond, you adapt, you listen. The music leads. Life may be asking the same of us. Not blind passivity, not giving up, but participation. Moving with what is here instead of endlessly fighting for what isn't. Imagine floating in deep water. If panic takes over, you thrash your arms wildly. You exhaust yourself, and eventually you'll sink. Yet the moment you become still, the water begins to support you. The water was always capable of holding you. It was your struggle that made you forget. How many parts of your life are like this? How much energy is spent fighting currents that were never your enemy? This does not mean we stop making plans. It does not mean we stop caring. We plant seeds, we water them, but we do not pull on the leaves, demanding they grow faster. There is a difference between action and attachment. Action says, I will do my best, whereas attachment says, my happiness depends on a particular outcome. One brings peace, the other breeds fear. So perhaps today, you do not need to solve your entire life. Perhaps you do not need every answer. Perhaps you only need this moment, this single breath, this single step, this sunrise, this conversation, this quiet awareness. Despite all your attempts to control life, life has carried you here. Maybe peace has never been waiting at the end of perfect circumstances. Maybe it has been quietly waiting beneath every anxious thought, patiently asking you to loosen your grip, to trust a little more, to resist a little less, to remember that the river has been flowing long before you arrived, and it will continue long after you're gone. You are not separate from that river. You are one expression of its movement, one wave upon an endless ocean, and perhaps the wave finds its greatest freedom, not when it tries to control the sea, but when it finally remembers it has always been the sea.